Did you know that maple syrup has to be refrigerated, otherwise bacteria can grow? Unless you can it. So I'm gonna can this gallon-sized jug into smaller, more manageable jars. That way I can just open one at a time and keep it in my fridge and not have this huge jug in my fridge. Start by putting your maple syrup into a stock pot and turn it on high heat. In another pot, get your jars sterilizing. I'm using half-pint jars today. You just wanna boil them for a few minutes. Back over to the maple syrup, you want to get it up to temperature at about 180 to 200 degrees, but don't go higher than 200 degrees. This is gonna kill any bacteria, making it ready to can up. Once both your maple syrup and your jars are ready, you're gonna take your jars out. I do little bits at a time so that they stay hot, because you have hot maple syrup, you want hot jars so that it doesn't shock them and break them. I just drain the water out of them. I don't necessarily dry them, and then place them on the counter, and I start ladling in my hot maple syrup to about a 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch headspace. Now this canning process is a little bit different because we're not actually processing them in the canner, and I will show you that in a minute. But once we get our jars filled up, we are going to take our lids that I also placed in the hot water after I was done boiling the jars, because that will soften the rings, like the rubber rings on the lids. And so I'm pulling them out of that water and placing them on top of my jars. Of course, before placing your lids on, you want to make sure you wipe the rims of your jars really well so there's no maple syrup on there, because that sticky mess will not help it seal properly. Now here's the weird part. We are going to screw the lids on really tight with your rings, and then we're gonna flip them upside down. I told you, weird. But it does work. So let them all sit like this for 5 to 10 minutes and then flip them back upright and just let them cool on their own, and they will seal naturally. I'll be honest, I was a little bit skeptical of this method, and I left the house after doing this for a few hours, not expecting much when I got back. But when I did get back, every single one of them had sealed, which I was so impressed with. I'm gonna keep the rings on my jars, which normally I would remove them, just to kind of make sure that they stay sealed, but they are shelf stable now. They're ready to go on my shelf, and I can just pull one out at a time as I need. Follow along for more food preservation.